Oh, hello there, cowboy man. I love your cow vest. Want some more coffee? Yes, ma'am. With some sugar and cream and cinnamon, please. Of course. Here you go. Look out! It's the witch! Ah! The coffee is pouring and it won't stop! Oh, no! The witch just struck you! What is she doing?
Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Toy Story 3. We are now inside of Bonnie's house. So yes, as you can see, one of Bonnie's toys has been magically turned into a wicked witch, and she has decided to spill coffee all over Bonnie's room. So we essentially just have to kind of survive it and not fall into this gigantic coffee river. Very evil of her, man. She has a caffeine addiction, and for some reason, she is taking it out on us and trying to drown us with it. Very, very sinister indeed. So yeah, so this is essentially, well, I guess it's time to take a little bit of dip in the coffee river. This is essentially where the game, the plot of the game, differs pretty significantly from the movie. I don't even know if this was, I don't think this was even in the movie at all. But yeah, as you can see, Bonnie's toys, or at least one of them, her doll there, is essentially going to act as one of the main antagonists of the main story here now in the game. I know Lotso was a big part of the movie in terms of kind of being the main villain. And he essentially is still a main antagonist in this game. We don't really see a lot of it though, and this is going to be kind of the main antagonist here, Bonnie's little doll here, who's been turned into an evil witch. So right now we are just kind of exploring through Bonnie's house while essentially running away from the rising coffee river that is trying to drown us out, as it did just there. But for now, we are just going to try to do our best and not fall into it, even though I have already done so at least twice. So yeah, no, I kind of like this switch up here where, wow, that's creepy. There's a photo not only chasing us, but was kind of creepily looking at us up and down with their eyeballs. But I like this little plot twist here where they decide to go in a much different direction than the actual film did. And kind of center it in, as far as Bonnie's toys are concerned, and making one of her dolls kind of one of the main antagonists. Well, basically, she's going to be the main antagonist. You'll kind of see from the rest of the game if I can stop falling into this damn coffee lake. But for now, we're going to continue to platform using various, common household objects, such as a shoe. I actually kind of like that, being able to... again, just kind of utilize these very typical household items as platforms and as utility in order to advance within the level. And we've already seen this in some of the, beginning levels already. So definitely a cool little function here. Definitely a cool aspect of the game that they really expand upon pretty much throughout this entire main story. And of course, we're in a toy setting here. We are toys that are... coming to life, walking around, kind of doing our own thing. So it only makes sense that we're going to utilize, common household objects around us in order to, kind of get around and advance throughout each level. And it looks like I took another dip there, unfortunately. So we have more of these blocks here. We just want to kind of smash those out of our way. That way we can kind of get through this place with no problem at all, even though it has been, apparently, for me. And we want to make sure we don't miss out on our collectible cards, of course. We have, of course, more cards to collect. We have a bunch of them in this section of the level, and this is another two-section level here where we will have another section coming up where we will be kind of exploring a whole different section, whole different part of the room, and it gets even crazier, if you can believe that or not. So but I do like the design of Bonnie's room here. I know I talked a lot about the daycare level, and I really enjoyed that level as well, being able to kind of freely explore around the daycare, seeing all the different toys and all of the different objects and things like that. But Bonnie's room looks really cool as well. And just again, the detail in this game, I'm probably going to say this in every episode, but I just can't get enough of it, of how much detail they go into when designing all of these different areas. And it just really feels like you're immersed into each different level here. But for now, we're going to continue to collect all of these items that we need. We actually need to go ahead and wall jump up this tube. This is probably one of the more missable, more easily missed items and collectibles, is that card right there. It's a special card where you have to essentially wall jump up that tube to get it, because it's very easy just to kind of pass it by and continue on without it. So as you can see, the magic has not stopped. So Bonnie's house is essentially being treated as kind of like a some sort of mystical landscape playground type of thing, where I guess whatever magic force has taken over the doll, who has been turned into an evil witch, is now essentially taking over this entire house. I mean, Bonnie's house is not even safe. I mean, she's a little girl, for gosh sakes. You know what? Holy cow. I mean, she's a little girl, for crying out loud. Like, if she's not even safe in her own house now, what's going to happen here? It's kind of creepy, but for now, we just need to essentially avoid these possessed objects, and this witch is really not making anything easy for us. We have some dominoes here that we're going to go ahead and jump over. Some plates here that are easy to platform over.
You escaped the witch's trap, cowboy! Look, a spaceship! We can use it to get away!
And this is where the imagination goes even more insane. So as you can see, we sort of jumped out the window and have, I guess, ascended into this mystical world here. I'm not really sure what you would call this, but this is kind of like the outside of Bonnie's house, technically. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, this is a really cool designed, really uniquely designed level here, where now we're kind of in a central area here where we are now tasked with finding these batteries, which was conveniently there's one place right there. And we essentially just have to find these batteries, place them into these generators in order to advance and complete the level. So now we have this elevator right here that's going to come down, allowing us to get into the next area where we will find the rest of the batteries that we need in order to get past this part right here. So as you can see, we have nowhere else to go but up that elevator to again collect our set of batteries that we need in order to light this place up and get it going, so that way we can go ahead and advance here. So there's a card right here in the corner, very sneakily placed. You definitely don't want to miss that, but we want to make sure that we don't miss any of those if we can help it. So but now we're going to take things outside, and we're going to take this adventure outdoors, and we are going to do a little bit more rail grinding here, very Sonic 3D style, if you will. I don't know, I really like this, but look at the clouds out there. Like, everything about this area is just so beautiful. Alright, so I want to actually go ahead and jump on this green rail. I actually passed it by the first time. So essentially what we want to do here is all of the rails that are color-coded are essentially going to be your main routes in order to collect all of the batteries that you need. So you'll know that you've collected them once you have completed all of the, gotten to the end of all of these paths that these colored rails essentially send you to. So we can go ahead and use that ground pound ability that we first utilized in the Buzz Lightyear level back in, I think it was Infinity and Beyond. We can kind of utilize that here as well to get down into this section. I love the, again, we're still seeing a lot more commonplace objects here. Kind of used as like obstacles where we need to kind of jump over them in order to get to where we need to go. So we're going to continue on this green rail here because that's what we need to do in order to find the next battery, and it should be at the end of this rail, I believe so. But yeah, it's kind of a combination of, we'll see what we got going on here, because she's breaking apart the landscape a little bit more. Very cool. So they kind of brought this element back from the Infinity and Beyond level, where we were playing as Buzz Lightyear. And as you can see, we're kind of limited to just playing as Woody this time. So one thing I want to say is I like the idea of not only having the levels where you can kind of team up with each of the characters and do some puzzle solving, but also the levels where you're solely focused on one of the characters and utilizing all of their abilities. So now that we have this battery in hand, which I love that you can hold it as you're rail grinding, that's so cool. We want to go ahead and follow this more multicolored rail back into the central area, because that's where we want to go ahead and bring all the batteries back to when we're done and we have all of them. Then we can go ahead and move on to the next colored rail, so on and so forth. So that's battery number 2, since the first one was just kind of given to us right in the central area. So go ahead and take the elevator back up with the beautiful, cute little butterfly lit up on it. And we want to go ahead and make our way over to the next rail, which I believe is the purple one. Yep, right there with the big old coffee mug. Actually, no, yellow. Just kidding. Purple will be next, but yellow is the one we're focused on now. So we want to go ahead and take this one all the way to the end. And as you can see, we have some coins that we're going to platform on. More common household objects here that we want to utilize. Nice little rainbow colored platform here. So the witch is now going to make these platforms essentially rotate. So they're going to flip over, and we just want to wait until the right one flips, and then we'll jump on that one, and so on and so forth. So very cool. Again, I love the platforming in this game. I think it's done. Honestly, I think I like it better in this game than I do the second game, even though that is more of a traditional collectathon, which I really enjoy that style of platforming as well. But this game goes above and beyond with its platforming, and this kind of reminds me of also the Buzz Lightyear level where we had those colored platforms that would disappear once you stepped on a certain one. Except this one does require more precise timing, where the platforms don't disappear, but you have to essentially time your jumps, where you jump on the one that you jump on, you want to make sure it's not being flipped over as you're jumping on it. So very cool indeed. But we went ahead and grabbed battery number 3, and we just want to make sure we don't hit our head on that giant star thing there. But yeah, like I said, very cool looking level. I love the kind of the hybrid between, kind of went from like a normal house setting to now we are, kind of essentially in this imaginary, it's almost like a galaxy type of area. This kind of reminds me of Toy Time Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy in a way. Where you have all these like you're in like this like interdimensional setting, but you have all these like commonplace objects and these toys that you're kind of utilizing as platforms and such. So pretty cool. But we're going to go ahead and take this next battery back, and we'll go ahead and place that to where it belongs. And I believe we have just one more left to find, since that was just one more on the list. So I'll take the elevator back up once again, and I love those colorful hearts on the side of it. Very nice detail, nice touch there. We're going to take the multicolored rail back in, or back out one more time, and this time we want to jump over to this purple rail, because this is actually our next destination, and I believe our final destination of this section. So jumping rails here a couple of times. You want to make sure you get on this final one. Do some super rail grinding here. Love it. Make sure we avoid these little, these little plastic windmill things that are going to try to cause us a little bit of pain. And we want to go ahead and see if we can locate the next battery. And this should be the last one that we need in this section. So
you'll never defeat me. Never.
But here is the final battery that we need, very conveniently just kind of placed right here. We're going to go ahead and see if we can take that back to the central location. And let's see here. Yeah, that giant, I just love the giant rocket thing there in the middle, where we have to go back inside of. You can actually see Bonnie's window right there. I don't think I noticed that earlier. It's even lit up and everything. So that's kind of cool. Now we're going to go ahead and head back into the central location. And we're going to drop off our final battery to get this thing going. Let's see what we got going on here. I think we're ready for liftoff. That just essentially opens up that door that we were not able to pass through the first time that we entered here. So let's go ahead and see what lies beyond. So now we're taking a red rail, and what do we have here? More chaos, I assume. So she is now ripping holes into this rocket. And we essentially just need to make sure we do not take too much damage from this thing, even though I'm kind of doing not a great job of doing that. Wow, these pieces of this thing are just kind of barging out very fast, very unpredictable. Kind of hard to avoid, honestly. And this part kind of feels a little glitchy and a little jarring a little bit, but it's all right. But now we have some disappearing rails, so this is where the challenge is definitely going to turn up a notch here, where we essentially just have to make sure that we are timing our jumps precisely, landing on the rails that we need to land on, that way we don't fall down to our death, because I believe we have to restart, not the entire level, that would be horrible, but essentially from this point, this very starting point here, we would have to kind of redo it if we fall off, I think, at this point. So this reminds me of kind of a mixture of Sonic, 3D Sonic, and maybe Ratchet and Clank, where you have to I remember there's some rail or levels that have like some rail sections where you have to kind of jump from rail to rail, and you have all these obstacles in your way. So they take a lot of, I feel like they had a lot of inspiration from some other traditional 3D platformers. So I kind of like how they kind of bring that into this game in much, you know, in a different creative way. I think it's done pretty well in this game, where it's not just copy and paste from other games, but you also have that, you know, uniqueness, and it feels very appropriate, you know, for this game to kind of the way it's designed and the way it looks, kind of more like the Toy Story fashion. So very cool. But camera change now, where we have to essentially avoid these, I think they're like caterpillar things, very creepy looking things, but we just have to jump from rail to rail, not get hit by them. We have enough health. If we do get hit, it isn't a big deal, because I don't think they knock you all the way off. You just have to make sure you don't die. And then we switch the camera up once again, and we're going back to this part right here where we have to make sure we don't fall off, because we have some rails that are kind of being melted away, and just kind of make sure we time our jumps well enough, which I didn't do there. All right, let's try this again. Jump over that, jump back over here, to the green, to the purple, to the red, to the purple, to the green, to the purple. Okay, I need to stop. All right, anyways, so now we have a crumbling structure to the right of us, more melted rails, and I think we actually are getting close to the end here. So again, not a super long level, quite a bit of backtracking we had to do in the beginning. Actually, okay, yeah, so here is, I think this is the final part here. So now we have these larger batteries, so we want to go ahead and feed these into these generators here. And as you can see, our goal now is to power up that thing in the center of this room here. Now this room is a lot more complex than what we were dealing with before, except I think we have just, I think there's only 2 or 3 large batteries that we have to get inside of those generators this time around. And fortunately enough, they are all located in this area, so we don't have to do too much exploration outside of it. We just have to kind of, you know, essentially do some, you know, very difficult, well, not really difficult, but unique platforming to get to them. And they are a lot heavier, so we can't just like really walk with them too far. We can't jump with them. We have to essentially throw them down a ways to get them into those generators. So we want to just go ahead and make our way over here, grab this one. I love how they say alkaline on them, just like a normal battery would. Yeah, so as you can see, we can't even really jump or really make any headway with it in our midst here, because it's just so heavy. So what we want to do here is just very carefully get across these spinning blocks that are very unstable, and we want to go ahead and toss this sucker into that generator so we can get the power going here. So let's see what we can do with this. Very nice. And there should be just one more battery to find. It's right there. So that's a much higher location. Looks like we have a lot more obstacles that are going to be in our way. Once we get up over in that area, But as you can see, we've already powered up this thing enough to where we can actually utilize these platforms now that are rotating around essentially the inside of a rocket. It's like the engine room of the rocket that we need to power up here. But we want to go ahead and wall jump up here. We want to make sure we get over to that location. That way we can find that last battery. So we have some more precisely timed jumps we need to make. Go ahead and ground pound on this switch, and that's going to open up another wall jump opportunity here. Get up to the very top of the thing, and then we'll take this rail over to where we grab our final battery. So we have some electrocuting lasers here that are going to zap us. So we want to make sure we get through them when they are not zapping the crap out of us. And unfortunately, we can't just throw this thing over this rail because it's too tall. So what we need to do is we still need to get it all the way down to that generator, but we need to pass through these. And it looks like we're going to have to throw it through these electrified wall, you know, whatever the hell you want to call these things. Electrified walls or whatever. Just want to wait until they're not doing their electrical thing there, and then we can throw the battery through each one of them. Again, not too bad, and then we just want to toss it right down there, and then we can go ahead and fit that thing into its power source.
Mr. Cowboy,
And that's going to do it.
hero.
The rocket launcher has been activated. And we are ready for takeoff. All right, so that's going to do it for Bonnie's house. So, with that being said, that's going to end the episode here. So next time on Let's Play Toy Story 3, we are going to be taking on Prison Break. No, not the TV series, but the level that's coming up next in Toy Story 3. So until then, I will see you later.